It's Nick here for Into Boxing. I am delighted to be joined for the very first time by Anthony Taylor. First of all, Anthony, how are we?
Feeling great, Nick. I feel good, look great. I am good.
It's you're heading over here to the UK for the Misfits Boxing show in Sheffield. Looking at your pro record, it's the first time you're heading over to the UK for a fight. How much are you looking forward to it?
Well, I'm looking great. It's my first time in Manchester for a fight. Period. I fought once in at the York Hall
Okay.
against Mike Hells in MMA, and then I fought on at the O2 by Wembley against Mel fellow ex UFC fighter. But I'm excited, Nick. I'm excited because I get to go to Manchester. I get to see all those beautiful women I hear that people talk about, how Manchester women are so beautiful, how they're so passionate about the people from all around that place. I am excited to be coming back to England, but just overall seeing Manchester that I hear so much good things about.
You haven't got an opponent as of yet. Do you know who your opponent is?
Yep, Ashley Tebby. Ashley Tebby. I'm coming to knock him out. I got 9 minutes to knock this guy out. I'm here to make a statement. People is wondering why. Hey, why is Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor on a Misfits card and he's a spar partner of Jake Paul? Well, we all know why I'm on a Misfits card because you guys want to see me fight KSI.
Is that the end goal for you to fight KSI in the future?
Absolutely, absolutely, and hopefully Logan Paul because Logan owes me a couple of rounds in sparring.
Let's talk about KSI then. Obviously, you said there you're on the Misfits card. KSI, obviously, the first Misfits card at the O2 a few weeks ago went down really well. He fought twice in one night. He fought Schwarms and then he fought Pineda. Just your thoughts on his performances?
I'm gonna sugarcoat this. I think that KSI looked great out there. When I say great, I'm not talking boxing skills great. I'm talking about looking shape great. He looked great in shape, and I'm proud of him because he was a little fat, chubby kid coming up on the YouTube scene, and his first influence of boxing. But I wasn't too impressed. Anybody wasn't too impressed. Even Chris Eubank Jr. said I wasn't impressive. You're fighting a guy who's a rapper who's never fought, and you're fighting a guy in Mexico who you can pay in Mexico and fight any day. And Mexico is like 3 hours from my border. I can go in there and fight 5 times in one day and come back with a 5-3 with an 8-3 record boxing. So I'm not too impressed, but KSI got the job done. What can we say? At the end of the day, it's going to be an answer of did you win or did you lose? And he's going to say, I won. So what can you say?
That's it. Obviously, making a little bit of history there with the two fights in one night. What are your thoughts on influencer boxing as a whole? Because obviously it's sort of taken off massively over the last couple of years, and it
I
seems to
think
have,
it's great.
yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off, Nick. I think it's
it's all right.
amazing. The fact that you're able to build your own platform from either YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You build your fans, your followers, your fans. Oh, I didn't lose you. Did you build your followers? You build your fans. You were able to take them into another platform such as boxing. So when you have almost 20 million people following you on all platforms, where is the hate on that? Just because out of 20 million, probably 2% is going to order your pay per view. It's just simple as that. That's where the money generates. If it takes popularity for people to watch it, go for it. Okay, I'm not the jealous type of guy. Just because I ain't got millions of followers, well, let me go ask this influencer what he did to get where he's at. Because I know for a fact he's gonna ask me he's gonna be like, what I gotta do to get better in boxing.
Do you think that that's sort of becoming quite important, obviously, in terms of not so much the number of followers that people have online, but in terms of having that media presence, that sort of online presence for these fighters, because you're seeing it more and more where people are crediting them saying, well, they've got the audience, they're bringing new eyes to the sport. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's great. Like, you're setting yourself up for success. Overall, you're bringing people who's never seen boxing before, who just straight KSI fans, YouTube giveaways, guys who are on TikTok who's never really watched boxing. You're bringing them to a whole nother field of boxing and be like, oh well, I think boxing's actually cool. So it does it just for boxing. It creates more. It creates more views for boxers who are not influential, like the Salt Poppies, the KSI, the Gibbs, and Austin McBroom. Now you got people who are starting to like boxing. They'd be like, "Oh, this is pretty cool," just because you see Salt Poppy fight. You're like, "Well, let me see what pro boxers are like." Oh my god, this is exciting! Anthony Joshua, and you know, and Usyk. So you're starting. So now pro boxers are starting to see the love dwindle in from the influence.
Who were you most impressed with on the first Misfits show? Obviously, there was a lot of good performances, and I think people were surprised at the level of boxing as well and the level of performances. Because I think everybody had really tried hard, got in good shape, and put on a real good show.
Sam Hyde. I was impressed with Sam Hyde. And it's not because he's a big dude. You saw that he didn't want to quit. You saw the look in his eyes. I'm tired, but I got something to prove. I I'm not going to quit. You're gonna have to carry me out of here. And I'm gonna give you everything I got. And that when I said I like that. I'd rather have a guy like that training with me every single day. Sam Hyde impressed me the most because he showed grit and determination in that ring.
You mentioned there as well, AnEson Gib, Austin McBroom. Obviously, that fight took place at the weekend. Did you get to watch that fight, and what did you think of it?
I mean, it was a hell of a fight, but I knew Gib was going to beat Austin McBroom, um, or Austin McDustpan. We call him McDustpan. He's not a McBroom. He's a McDustpan because he got sweat all around. So we're gonna call him McDustpan. Um, Gibbs showed poise. Um, Gibbs showed relentlessness. He showed patience, and he did a hell of a good job. Now, a good fight. I would like to see Gibbs versus Deji. That will be a good fight, but they're never going to fight because they're friends. They're the same part, coaches. But that'll be a hell of a fight. But if you notice, Gibb and Deji fight is very similar.
Yeah.
Very, very similar fighters. So we understand that. Them two fighting me is going to be like Frank Bruno versus Mike Tyson. Frank Bruno, the UK boxer, against Mike Tyson, American. I have a peekaboo style. I have a Mike Tyson style. That's just how I fight. So, but enough about me. Let's talk about Gib and McDustpan. Gib did a great job staying composed when he got knocked down. He knew, hey, I got about 4 more rounds. Let's not let it get to me. And he did a good job staying posed. I think McDustpan kind of got a little cocky off the first knockdown, and he didn't really show any growth in his boxing. I just feel like he was just a one pop guy. Pop, another one, pop, just moving around.
There's a lot of talk after Gibbs' victory, and there's online of, I think KSI jumped in and said, if he wouldn't mind a fight with Gib. Jake Paul also said if AnEson Gib and KSI fought and Gib beat KSI, then he could take the rematch with Gib. Again, what's your sort of thoughts on that narrative and how that could play out?
I don't really see them fighting because they fight each other. What does it prove? You guys both suck. What does it prove? You guys not fought no real fighters. You guys are influencers and fighting influencers. I'm here fighting. Jake is like this. You guys are fighting influencers, each other. I'm here fighting UFC legends, Bellator champs, and champions and legends, and people. I even tried to fight Hassim, who was a heavyweight, and Tommy Fury. Who are you guys fighting? McDustpan, Pineda. What is Jake going to get interest in that? The fans are going to be like, oh yeah, it's good because you have the fans, but in reality, is it good? Is it a good fight, or people want to see KSI fight somebody who's actual fighter to see where his level at before he fights Jake Paul.
Do you think that the Jake Paul KSI fight will happen next year? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, I see it happening.
How
Having in summertime,
out?
Jake knocks his ass out second round.
Wow, big prediction. I mean, Jake.
Look at KSI. He's not. You see the way he throws. He's a sloppy fighter. Jake's a very patient counterpuncher. You're not going to just come in with a wild shot. I'm sure you saw Tyron Woodley not just jump in with a wild shot the way KSI was coming at wild shots with Pineda and Swarm.
Do you think that KSI could get better? Obviously, he's planned to think he's going to have another fight in January, and then I would presume that from January it probably will be the summer. Do you think he can make improvements then?
Anybody can get improvements, yeah. I mean, anybody can get better. You want to get better. I feel like January KSI will fight. March he'll probably fight, or April. He'll fight January. He'll probably fight April, and he'll probably kick it off in July or August to fight Jake Paul.
Would you like to be on that undercard at Wembley Stadium?
Absolutely. I'd love to be on the undercard with Tommy Fury if he's down to fight, or Tyron Woodley if he's down to fight. You know, if not, maybe Logan Paul if he's down to fight. You know, I want to fight. I'm a fighter. No one want to fight me. Kudos to Ryan Taylor taking that fight, but no one wants to fight me, Nick. I'm telling you, I am that guy who the hell sound like Chris Rock that nobody wants to fight. Like, how the hell I sound like Chris Rock and nobody want to fight?
You heard it here first. Anthony Taylor, nobody wants to fight him. Someone get him a fight. Someone get this man a fight. Let's talk about Jake Paul. Obviously, you mentioned earlier, been a sparring partner for Jake. Obviously, he's just signed a massive fight with Anderson Silva. I think that's sort of taken a few people by surprise because I don't think that people were considering whether Jake would actually take that fight. But credit to Jake for taking it. You know, he's a legend of MMA. He's had a couple of boxing fights. He's looked good in that. What's your thoughts around that? And have you spoken to Jake since it's been signed? And how is Jake feeling ahead of the fight?
I text Jake. He's doing great. Jake is just focused. You know, it's just, hey, get it in. I'm not calling him or texting him there. Hey, buddy, it's more of get that work, G. Handle business. That's all I gotta say is handle business. Jake is confident. Jake had as you see, Jake had a 6-month camp. You know, he was getting ready for the Tommy Fury fight. And everybody knows what is the number one important thing in boxing, that the number one rule is. You know, Nick, what's the number one rule in boxing?
To win.
Stay ready to fight. Jake had a camp for the Tommy. That didn't go through. He had the camp for Hassan. That didn't go through. Now he has a camp with Anderson Silva. He's been in camp. All great boxers are always in shape year-round, ready to go. I like this matchup because Anderson Silva is known as a striker, but let's see how fair he does against Jake in just boxing. Now, we get that Anderson Silva beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but we already know where work ethic Jr. is at.
How do you see it playing out then? Talk to me. How does that fight end?
Anderson's he's the type of guy who's not going to allow himself to get knocked out. So I have him losing by split. Anderson Silva losing.
Still going to be a massive fight and one to very much look forward to. Let's end it with yourself then. Let's talk about yourself, the next sort of 12 months. If you could map your next 12 months out, let's say you could have 3 fights. Who's on that wish list that you'd love to fight?
Tommy Fury, number 1. KSI, number 2. James Gallagher, number 3.
3 very, very good names. Good names. And have you got a message for your supporters, your family, your friends who stick by you, help you through training camp and come out and watch you, whether it's, at the stadiums, the arenas, or on the television?
My message, leave me alone. I'm in grind mode. I am in grind mode. I joined the dark side. I'm coming for revenge, and I'm coming to knock this Ashley Tebby dude the fuck out. I don't want your support. I don't want your conclusions. I just want KSI.
Anthony Taylor, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for giving Into Boxing some of your time. And I will catch up with you in Sheffield on Fight Week.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you very much.